Good day everyone, I'm Daniel Sanchez Pangilinan from SRDF 31, and for today, together with my groupmates, we will present the proposed quality improvement plan from Universidad de Manila and ExCom. But before we start, we would like to acknowledge the following. First of all, we would like to acknowledge our dear God for giving us the guidance to finish this kind of paper. Second, we would also like to give our heartfelt thanks to our Professor Dr. Domingo T. Balse for giving us the format of the paper. Because without this format, we will not finish this kind of proposal. Third one is we would also like to acknowledge the CBA staff and also the canteen staff for giving all the information that we needed in order to finish this kind of paper. And lastly, we would like to acknowledge my groupmates for giving their unwavering support and participation to finish this kind of paper. All your hard work are really important.
So for our Chapter 1, I am Maramika Danza, and I will discuss the introduction part. The Universidad de Manila's Henry C. Senior Campus, formerly known as the Center for Micro-Credentialing and Industry Training, has emerged as a significant institution in Santa Cruz, Manila. Since its establishment in early 2022, the campus has offered various test-accredited programs, including bread and pastry production, and has been actively involved in training and assessment activities. As students of the Henry C. Senior Campus, we have observed that the campus cafeteria, while essential for the daily needs of students and staff, could benefit from improvements. The current state of its operations, including menu offerings, food quality, service efficiency, and overall ambience, presents certain challenges that impact the overall dining experience. To address these issues, we have conducted a comprehensive analysis of the cafeteria's operations. Our study delves into various aspects of the cafeteria such as specific aspects, menu diversity, food quality, service speed, and cleanliness. By examining these factors, we aim to identify the strengths and weaknesses of the current system and propose potential solutions to enhance the cafeteria's overall performance and student satisfaction. So for our objectives, we have number 1, enhancing food quality. Here, we are offering a wider variety of healthy food options, improving flavor and presentation, and prioritizing food safety and cleanliness. Number 2, optimizing service efficiency. Reducing wait times, training staff on customer service, and implementing efficient payment systems. Number 3, elevating the dining environment. Here, we are ensuring cleanliness and sanitation, maximizing seating configurations, and creating a pleasant ambience through lighting, music, and interior design. The last but not the least is the continuous improvement. Here, we are regularly assessing key metrics and collecting feedbacks to identify areas for further improvement.
Good day everyone, my name is Melanie Harvey de la Cruz, and I'm here to present about statement of the problem and root causes of the problem. But first, I will discuss the statement of the problem. This part highlights the challenges with the cafeteria at the UNMC campus, focusing on 5 main issues that impact students' access to the issues and enjoyable dining experiences. Letter A, reliance on processed and nutrient-deficient foods. It is a situation in which most students depend on fast foods, thereby reducing healthy meals, which is a significant aspect of nutrition necessary for maintaining energy levels and maintaining your physical and mental well-being. Letter B, lack of variety in nutritious food options. There is a minimal diversity in healthy food options excluding dietarian Islam, vegetarian, vegan, or allergen-free diets. This discourages healthy choices and reduces cafeteria appeal. Letter C, inadequate supply chain infrastructure. Inconsistent access to fresh ingredients forces reliance on processed foods, preventing the cafeteria from offering nutritious meals regularly. Letter D, budgetary constraints. Higher cost of healthy ingredients and preparation makes it difficult to offer affordable, nutritious meals, which pushes students to find cheaper and less healthy alternatives. Lastly, the letter D, limited seating and poor dining conditions. Small seating capacity and poor dining conditions such as outdated furniture and overcrowding makes the cafeteria unappealing that results to reducing customer attention and of course low revenue. In conclusion, the cafeteria at the UDM-NGC campus faces significant challenges that hinder its ability to provide students with nutritious and enjoyable dining experiences. Reliance on processed and nutrient-deficient foods, a lack of diverse healthy options, supply chain limitations, budgetary constraints, and inadequate seating and dining conditions collectively create an environment that discourages healthy eating habits and reduces overall satisfaction. Addressing these issues is crucial to transform the cafeteria into a space that supports students' physical well-being, dietary needs, and overall campus life. A comprehensive plan for improvement will not only enhance the dining experience, but also foster a culture of healthy inclusivity and sustainability. Next is root causes of the problem. This analysis identifies root causes affecting the cafeteria's operations, and it is categorized into 4 areas, which are the manpower, method, materials, and machines, highlighting inefficiencies and limitations that contribute to the cafeteria's challenges. In manpower area, staff lack training in essential areas such as meal preparation, efficient workflows, and customer service, leading to slow service, inconsistent food quality, and inefficient operations. Also, limited food safety training increases the risk of contamination and improper storage, compromising hygiene and safety standards. Next, in method area, there are no systems for clear nutritional labeling or collaboration with the dietitians, leaving the students unable to make informed choices and enforcing unhealthy eating habits. Also, the cafeteria does not integrate nutrition education into the student experience, leaving students unaware of the impact of their diet on health and academic performance. Next, in materials area, the cafeteria lacks adequate tables, chairs, and dining space, leading to overcrowding during peak hours. This is due to budget limitations and underestimating the student demand. Also, aging or insufficient cooking tools prevent the preparation of diverse and healthy meals, as financial constraints limit investments in upgrades. Lastly, in machines, without automated diagnostic tools, the cafeteria operates reactively, leading to unexpected breakdowns and increased downtime. Also, inefficient kitchen layouts and insufficient machines for demand create bottlenecks, while improper design further reduces operational efficiency.
So for next one is our chapter 5, which is the quality food. So for the figure 1, it shows the Ishikawa or fishbowl model, which shows the root causes and effect of the problems inside of the cafeteria. As what our previous member discussed earlier about the methods, materials, machines, and manpower, these are the 4 factors that might affect the health and safety standards of Universidad de Manila cafeteria since 2020. So for chapter 6, we have the data processing and floor plan of Universidad de Manila Annex Cafeteria. So the figure 2 shows the floor layout of our cafeteria. Since our school doesn't have the actual layout, our group decided to make a top view layout that serves as a witness of what is the current look of our cafeteria. These are the dimensions of school cafeteria. So the figure 3 shows an illustration of vendors in a cooking area and serving area, highlighting the key zones, the serving counter for customer interaction, the cooking station for food preparation, and storage for supplies. It visually maps the workflow, emphasizing task allocation and seamless movement within the compact space. The proximity of the cooking station to the serving counter minimizes delays, while the division of labor, one vendor cooks, another serves, and a third assists, ensures efficient operations and informed space and resource allocation. As you can see, there is a lot of ambience and tools in their kitchen area, which might serve as one of the important things to have a healthier environment and attractive ambience for many students. So figure 4. So figure 4 shows our cafeteria's dining area with a small table chairs and chest freezer and storage shelves. The space feels cramped and uninviting, with basic seating, minimal decor, and cluttered shelves. The worn-out freezer and lack of organization highlights the need for improvements to make the area more welcoming and clean. So for our figure 5, it shows the stairs without handrails that are often wet. Creating safety risks, the lack of handrail makes balancing difficult, increasing the chance of falls. Crowding further adds to the danger, especially during emergencies. So next one is figure 6. So figure 6 shows an exit near to the cafeteria, which may cause the customers to leave quickly. Creating a rush atmosphere, this setup could lead to crowding during busy hours, reducing comfort and overall customer satisfaction.
Good day everyone, I'm Jessica Sidaco and I will introduce the Central Information Management System for Universidad de Manila Annex Cafeteria, with a focus on its innovative component, the canteen menu planning. The CMP is an integrated information system specifically designed to optimize menu planning and canteen operations. By consolidating essential data like ingredient inventories, supplier details, nutritional information, and customer preferences into one platform, the system will streamline the decision-making and daily management. This user-friendly solution ensures all critical records are centralized, paving the way for a more efficient and effective canteen operation. For the goals and objectives, the CMP is guided by clear goals and objectives that aim to revolutionize the cafeteria experience. At its heart is the commitment to offering healthy, affordable, and diverse food choices that cater to various cultural and dietary needs. The system prioritizes excellent customer service by responding to the unique preferences of students and staff, fostering stronger connections. Importantly, it also addresses the well-being of food service workers, ensuring fair wages, professional growth, and participation in decision-making. Beyond operations, the system seeks to educate students on health, citizenship, and social responsibility through activities and resources that promote better nutritional habits. Additionally, the CMP will focus on creating a clean, inviting dining space with improved seating ventilation and lighting for a more pleasant experience. From low-budget meal plans to gradual placements of processed foods with healthier alternatives, this initiative is a comprehensive approach to enhancing the dining environment. Now let's discuss the scope and limitations of this system. The CMP aims to transform the dining experience by offering a more varied and nutritious menu while improving operational efficiency and customer satisfaction. This involves modernizing kitchen and dining equipment, expanding seating capacity, and incorporating digital solutions for ordering and payment. However, the program operates with certain constraints such as budget limitations and phased implementation. Despite these challenges, the CMP remains focused on delivering meaningful improvements that benefit both customers and staff, ensuring a more efficient and satisfying dining experience.
Good day everyone, I'm Jared Andre Armas, and let's discuss the challenges faced by the UDM cafeteria. First, in terms of manpower, there is minimal emphasis on skill development in meal preparation, cooking techniques, and consumer customer service. This leads to inefficient kitchen workflows, slower service during peak hours, and inconsistent food quality. Furthermore, the absence of formal food safety workshops or certifications increases cross-contamination, as staff lack adequate training in safety protocols. Second, on methods, students often consume unhealthy processed meals because they are unable to make informed choices. This is partly due to the cafeteria's lack of collaboration with nutritionists for balanced menus and the absence of clear nutritional labeling on food items. Moreover, students remain unaware of how their dietary habits impact their overall health, energy, and academic performance. Third, on materials, the cafeteria struggles with insufficient tables, chairs, and dining space during peak hours due to space limitations and others relating to money. Financial constraints limit investment in equipment and facilities as operational and facility priorities take precedence coupled with limited institutional support. And lastly, on machines, a lack of systems to monitor machine performance causes reactive maintenance, leading to unexpected breakdowns and downtime. Poor kitchen layout and improper equipment placement results in deficiencies, delays, and increased wear on machines and skilled personnel to address these issues. Addressing these issues can significantly improve both service quality and the health of the UDM community. These challenges emphasize the need for better resource allocation and planning to enhance operations. Next, we have proposed improvement for cafeteria. Here are the diagrams to guide the management and the staff of the cafeteria in UDM and Alici campus. First, menu revitalization. They need to expand the selection of nutritious eating options, including proteins, whole grains, fresh fruits, and vegetables in the menu. To reduce the intake of processed foods and sugar-filled beverages. They need to use standard recipes to improve the presentation and taste of the meals. Secondly, improving food safety and hygiene. Assure the highest possible food safety standards, and the staff members should get regular instruction on food safety procedures. They need to adopt high hygiene standards in all places used for food preparation and service. Next, increasing the effectiveness of services, shorten wait times and improve client support, and make it easier the ordering and cooking procedures. To boost staff attentiveness, teach them customer service techniques. Enhancing the dining experience, make the dining area more comfortable and welcoming, improve eating spaces, maintenance, and cleanliness. Just to make the most of available space, remodel the seating and layout. To improve the atmosphere, add appropriate interior design, music, and lighting. We have using technology for feedback and payment, collect feedback from customers and improve transaction processes. Introduce digitally determined effective payment processes. Create frequent feedback portals and surveys to get opinions from workers and students. Regular observation and evaluation, monitor development and guarantee ongoing progress, creating monitoring system to evaluate staff turnover rates, food waste, and customer satisfaction. Analyze data to find areas that could use improvement. We are resolving supply chain and infrastructure concerns, guarantee consistent availability of fresh foods, strengthen the infrastructure of the supply chain to improve the supply of fresh food. Work together with local businesses to guarantee continuous delivery of high-quality ingredients. And lastly, strengthening comfort and seating capacity, develop the overall dining environment, increase the number of seats to accommodate more students, particularly during crowded periods. Make dining more enjoyable, update the table and chairs, and increase the natural airflow.
So next one is the cafeteria area reconfiguration. So the figure 8 shows the proposed layout for our cafeteria. As you can see that we plan to renovate the stairs with handrails for safety. We also rearranged the kitchen and dishwashing areas with the add of sanitation, area better for hygiene, and plans to enhance the ambience of the cafeteria. We will also include more tables and chairs to attract students and remove the nearby exit to reduce customer turnover and create a more welcoming dining experience.
Good day everyone! Today I will walk you through the proposed cafeteria reconfiguration and its key features designed to improve functionality, accessibility, and the overall environment of the space. So let's break it down into several main areas. So for the vendor and cuisine areas, we strategically placed it in the upper left quadrant. So this location ensures easy access for employees who need quick meals or snacks during the day. To support healthy choices, we have incorporated a nearby nutritious cuisine section, enhancing the overall well-being of the team. So next is the dining area. It is centrally arranged with the tables and seating on both sides. This setup maximizes the capacity, providing ample room for employees and students to dine comfortably. The central placement also makes it convenient for everyone to access from different parts of the cafeteria. So, next is dishwashing room. It is located in the bottom right corner. The dishwashing room is intentionally separated from dining and serving areas to maintain cleanliness and reduce congestion. It is also accessible to staff through a nearby entrance, ensuring smooth operations without disrupting dining activities. So, next is greenery. So, to create a welcoming and calming atmosphere, plants are integrated into the upper right and lower right corners. These touches of greenery add a cozy and appealing aesthetic, promoting a sense of relaxation within the workspace. So, next is accessibility and flow. The design prioritizes accessibility and smooth movement throughout the space. There are multiple entrances, including main door located near the way to entrance and separate exit positioned near the dishwashing station. Additionally, stairs to the second floor are located in the bottom left corner, ensuring easy access to other areas. So next is pathways. Finally, clear pathways connect key zones like dining, cleaning, and serving areas. This ensures efficient navigation and minimizes disruptions during peak times, enhancing the overall experience for everyone in the space. So, in summary, this reconfiguration focuses on creating a space that is not only functional but also welcoming, ensuring ease of movement, accessibility, and comfort for all employees and students. While the proposed cafeteria reconfiguration offers significant benefits, it also comes with some challenges that need to be addressed. These challenges can be grouped into forming categories, which is manpower, materials, methods, and machines. So let's go over each one in detail. So for the manpower, the reconfiguration may increase the workload for staff, particularly during the transition phase, as adjustments will require additional effort. So there is also the challenge of ensuring an effective staff coordination method, which will be crucial for maintaining productivity while adapting to the changes. Next is materials. So the space available for dining and decoration is limited, potentially impacting the aesthetics and functionality of the reconfiguration areas. The project could involve a prolonged renovation process, which may disrupt daily operations and require careful scheduling to minimize inconvenience. Third one is methods. Traffic flow management within the reconfigured area or space could prove inefficient if pathways and access points are not optimized, leading to bottleneck and delays. Similarly, cleaning workflow challenges may arise if the placement of dishwashing areas or trash disposal points does not align with staff routines. So finally, machines. The placement and usability of equipment might need further refinement. Incorrect positioning of machinery or tools could hinder productivity and create ergonomic issues for staff. So, let's now discuss the key activity diagram, which outlines the structured process for renovating the cafeteria. So, the process begins with the institution's decision to renovate the cafeteria. This decision served as the foundation for all subsequent steps. After that, a meeting is then set up involving the head of school, officers, facilities, cafeteria team, and the engineering team. The goal is to align all parties and establish a shared vision for renovation. During the meeting, the engineering team will discuss the requirements and limitation of the project to ensure feasibility and address potential constraints. So, based on the discussion, the cafeteria team drafts the initial design specifications. The engineering team evaluates the specification and provides feedback or approves them. So for the design approval, at this stage, a decision is made. So, are the design specification approved? If it's yes, a budget is set up, then leading to the official reconfiguration phase. So if not, the cafeteria team drafts a second version of the design specification, which is either automatically approved or assigned for final iterations. So once approved, the budget is set up and the project moves forward. So after the budget is established, the renovation transitions to the official reconfiguration phase, marking the implementation of the approved plan. So, good day everyone, I'm Josephine Listis and I'm going to discuss the improvement proposal cost and recommendation and benefits. Our improvement proposal cost provides a detailed breakdown of the proposed initiatives and their associated costs to improve cafeteria operations. Each initiative aims to enhance the quality of food, cleanliness, and customer experience, supporting a better dining environment for students and staff. Below is an explanation of each proposed initiative and its cost. So first, the Healthy Menu Options Testing Program. It costs 2,000 pesos monthly. And this program aims to test and introduce various nutritious meal options by assessing students' preferences. The ultimate goal is to improve menu variety and promote healthier eating habits. So the second one is enhancing equipment and cleanliness. It costs 3,000 pesos monthly. Regular maintenance and purchasing of cleaning materials ensure a clean and a hygienic environment. A cleaner cafeteria attracts more customers and improves the dining experience. And the third one is employing more workers to prepare and serve food. It costs 10,820 pesos. And hiring additional staff will improve the speed and efficiency of food preparation and service, catering to more students and potentially increasing sales. And the next one is adding and improving outdoor seating areas. It costs 7,500 pesos. And this initiative enhances outdoor dining facilities to create a more welcoming and comfortable atmosphere, encouraging more students to dine in the cafeteria. So the next one is offer a variety of nutrient-dense meal alternatives. It costs 15,000 pesos, and providing diverse nutrient-rich meal options will encourage healthier eating behaviors among students and address concerns about nutritional value. The next one is provide healthier substitute for progressively lowering processed meals. And this costs 40,000 pesos monthly. And reducing processed food and offering healthier substitute aims to improve general health while meeting customer demand for nutritious meals. And the next one is involving students in nutrition workshops and informative posters. And this costs 3,000 pesos. And hosting workshops and distributing educational materials will teach students about healthy eating habits, fostering a health-conscious campus culture. And the last one is providing loyalty benefits or discounts for nutritious meals. And this costs 2,000 pesos. And this loyalty program offers discounts on balanced meals, encouraging students to consistently make healthier food choices. And the last is the total cost of improvement proposal. And the total cost is 83,420 pesos. And this is the aggregate cost of all initiatives, encompassing testing programs, facility upgrades, meal improvements, staff salary adjustments, and educational efforts. The investment aims to enhance this overall dining experience while promoting health and sustainability. So next is our recommendation and benefits. So our recommendation and benefits outlines actionable strategies to improve cafeteria efficiency, service quality, and customer satisfaction, focusing on manpower, methods, materials, and machines. So for our manpower, we have training and development, customer service excellence, safety workshops, and team efficiency. So for our training and development, it provides staff with training in food hygiene, customer service, and dietary accommodations. For example, is handling allergies, gluten-free, and vegetarian options. So next is our customer service excellence. So it equips employees with communication and conflict resolution skills to improve interactions with customers. So next is safety workshops. So regular workshops and certifications on food safety to ensure proper handling and reduce contamination risk. And the last is the team efficiency. So enhance kitchen workflows through time management and collaborative cooking techniques to
to reduce service delays during peak hours. So the next is the method. Balanced menu with nutritional facts, rotating menus and seasonal offerings, healthy choices advocacy, and feedback mechanism. So for our balanced menu with nutritional facts, it collaborates with nutritionists to design balanced menus featuring fresh produce, whole grains, lean proteins, and plant-based options. It includes clear nutritional labels to guide informed choices. And the next is rotating menus and seasonal offerings. It introduced themed days and menus using seasonal ingredients to keep offerings fresh and engaging. The next is healthy choices advocacy. It launched reward programs, for example, discount or loyalty points, for selecting healthy meals to encourage sustainable eating habits. And the last is feedback mechanism. It uses surveys or suggestion boxes for real-time student feedback to align menus with their preferences and needs. So for our materials, we have improved dining facilities, upgraded equipment, sustainability practices, and enhanced storage. So for our improved dining facilities, it upgrades dining spaces with adequate seating, proper lighting, and ventilation. It creates designated study and social areas to accommodate student needs. So next, upgraded equipment. So it replaces outdated cooking appliances with modern tools to improve food preparation speed and quality. And the next is sustainability practices. We use eco-friendly packaging, implement waste management practices, and source seasonal, locally grown ingredients to reduce the environmental footprint. And the last is the enhanced storage. It installs proper storage facilities to maintain ingredients, freshness, and minimize spoilage. And the last is the machines. Advanced kitchen equipment, technology integration, performance monitoring system, and optimized kitchen layout. And for the advanced kitchen equipment, invest in high-efficiency appliances, for example, ovens, refrigerators, food processors, and it designed for bulk use to ensure consistency and speed. And the next is technology integration. It introduced self-service kiosks, online pre-ordering systems, and mobile payment options to reduce wasting times and streamline service. And the third one is performance monitoring systems. And it implements automated systems to monitor machine performance, ensuring timely maintenance and minimizing downtime. And the last is optimized kitchen layout. It redesigned the kitchen for ergonomic efficiency and equipment, eliminating workflow bottlenecks. So for the conclusion, by implementing these improvements in manpower, methods, materials, and machines, the cafeteria can deliver a better dining experience, promote health-conscious choices, and achieve operational efficiency. And these changes are designed to meet students' expectations while fostering sustainability and long-term.
Good day everyone, I am Antoinette Dinette and I'll be presenting the cost-benefit analysis estimated budget for our cafeteria's layout and services. And our goal is to enhance sales and improve student happiness through various initiatives focused on healthier choices and better dining experiences. Now let me explain the proposed activities and their costs. First, we have the Healthy Menu Option Testing Program, which will cost 2,000 pesos, and this program is expected to generate to 10,000 pesos in benefits, leading to a profit of 8,000 pesos. And next, we plan to enhance equipment and cleanliness with a cost of 3,000 pesos. The benefits of this upgrade are estimated at 5,000 pesos, resulting in a profit of 2,000 pesos. And another activity involves are employing more workers to prepare and serve food, which will cost 10,920 pesos. And we anticipate this will bring in 16,000 pesos, giving us a profit of 5,080 pesos. And additionally, we aim to add an improved outdoor seating area for a cost of 7,500 pesos, which is expected to generate to 13,000 pesos, resulting in a profit of 5,500 pesos. And we also want to offer a variety of nutrient-dense meal alternatives. This initiative will cost 15,000 pesos and is expected to earn 20,000 pesos and a profit to 5,000 pesos. And another key proposal is to provide healthier substitutes while lowering processed meals, which will require an investment of 40,000 pesos. However, it is expected to yield to 60,000 pesos, resulting in a significant profit of 20,000 pesos. And moreover, we plan to involve students in nutrition workshops and create an informative posters. And this will cost to 3,000 pesos, and the expected benefits are 12,000 pesos, giving a profit of 7,000 pesos. And lastly, we want to provide loyalty benefits or discounts for nutritious meals. This initiative will cost 2,000 pesos, but is expected to earn to 15,000 pesos, leading to a profit of 13,000 pesos. So in summary, the total cost for all this activity is 83,420 pesos, while the total benefit is projected to be 149,000 pesos. And this results in a net benefit of 65,580 pesos, showing that these initiatives will be financially beneficial for the cafeteria. Now let's talk about the implementation plan. So, first is the University Cafeteria Development Timetable in January. So, the University Cafeteria Development Timetable outlines the planned activities for January, February, and March. In January, we will start with the planning and preparation phase. In the first week, we will meet with the key stakeholders, including university leaders, cafeteria, staff, and students, to gather their ideas and expectations for the cafeteria. So during weeks 2 and 3, we will collect information about the cafeteria's current operations and student preferences, which will help us make informed decisions. And in week 3, we will review the data to identify the cafeteria's needs and set our improvement goals. So moving into the analysis phase, we will assess the current layout of the cafeteria during weeks 2 and 3 to identify areas for improvement in space usage. So based on our findings and student feedback, we will recommend enhancement in weeks 3 and 4, while also considering eco-friendly practices for the redesign. And we will clearly outline the scope of the proposed changes during this phase. And in the design phase, in week 4, we will focus on drafting a new layout that meets our identified needs. And we will select appropriate equipment and materials that align with our sustainability goals and design efficient workflows for food preparations and service. And in February, we will continue refining the space design throughout the month, with the 4th week dedicated to finalizing our improvement recommendations. Based on ongoing feedback, we will further develop our eco-friendly strategies and finalize the details of their configuration scope. And the new layout design will be completed in the first week, followed by selecting necessary equipment and refining workflows. So, in March, we will initiate the implementation phase, starting with operational setup in the first week. And this will lay the groundwork for our new cafeteria processes, and staff training and orientation will take place during the 2nd and 3rd weeks, ensuring that our team is well prepared to adapt to the changes. And throughout the month, we will monitor progress to identify any challenges early on. And in the latter part of March, we will focus on evaluating functionality in the 3rd and 4th weeks and gathering feedback from both staff and students. And this feedback will guide us in making necessary adjustments to enhance our operations and ensure a successful transition to the improved cafeteria services. So next, the University Cafeteria Configuration Timetable. So the University Cafeteria Configuration Timetable outlines the key activities planned over several weeks. In weeks 1 and 2, we will meet with important people, including university staff and students, to discuss the project and gather their ideas. So during the same weeks, we will collect information about how the cafeteria is currently running and what student wants. And in week 2, we will analyze the necessary changes for the cafeteria. And in week 3, we will drop a proposed design based on the needs and present it to the stakeholders for approval. So once we have their approval, we will create a budget in week 4 to estimate the cost of the project and procure the necessary materials for construction. So throughout the weeks 1 to 4, we will begin the construction process, making changes to the cafeteria according to approved design. And we will also regularly evaluate the progress of the construction to ensure that everything going as planned. Next, the implementation summary. So the implementation summary outlines 2 important activities aimed at improving the university cafeteria. The first activity is to reconfigure and improve UDM cafeteria layout and services, which will be managed by the engineering department and general administrative services. And this project is scheduled to take place from January to March 25 with a budget of 23,420 to enhance the cafeteria's layout and services for students and staff. And the second activity is it involves establishing a centralized food management system overseen by the cafeteria management team, food services department, and procurement department. And this initiative is also set for January to March 2025 and has a budget of 60,000 pesos to better organize food management and make services more efficient. And overall, these efforts aim to create a better dining experience for everyone at the university, reflecting the institution's commitment to making those improvements on time.